there was a woman who was very unhappy with her husband. He had been oh so charming when they were going out. But once they were married, how things changed. Whenever they went out together now, he would ogle other women. Whenever she made a joke, he would just stand there, stony-faced, and roll his eyes. But worst of all were the comments he would make about her to other people. Nasty comments that humiliated her so much she barely wanted to go out at all anymore. One day, after a particularly awful string of abuse from him, she took herself off to the botanical gardens to have a think about what she should do. It was a warm June day, and she sat herself down under a tree. She'd brought a book with her, but she didn't feel like reading. It was really just a prop. She just wanted to sit under that tree and escape his poisonous words for a while. She sat and dreamed and dozed for a bit, then stirred herself in case anyone was coming. And when she looked down at her book, she saw a wee slug. She couldn't help but smile. It looked like it was waving at her with its eye stalks. It had left a trail on the cover of her book. But when she looked closer, she saw it wasn't a trail. It was writing. I can help. She took a closer look. The lettering was very wobbly, but it clearly said, I can help. Oh, no, 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 no. She was clearly having a nervous breakdown. But she looked again. The slug was continuing to write. You are not mad. It had run out of space. She picked it up, turned over the cover of the book and put it back down. Again it continued. 3 wishes, but he gets double. She pondered this for quite some time. Even if she was mad, what harm could a wish do? No one would know except the slug. She thought of how ugly her husband had made her feel. She looked at the slug again. I wish I was extremely beautiful. She knew it'd all be nonsense, but even so, she carefully gathered up the slug with a few leaves and blades of grass, put it in her handbag, and got up. Time to go home. She made her way to the bus stop, and when the bus came, as usual, all the seats were taken. But this time, a young man got up and offered her his. Oh no, she thought. My husband said I was ageing badly, but surely I don't pass for a pensioner yet. Mind you, he said I was getting really fat too. Maybe that man thought I was pregnant. She sat and stared at the floor for the rest of the journey. So she didn't notice all the stares she was getting. When she got home, the first thing she did was look in the mirror. What a sight was waiting for her. Beautiful. She was still her, but things had been tweaked. She couldn't help but compare herself to Angelina Jolie. Favourably. She gazed, transfixed, for some time, until she heard the scrape of the key in the lock. Her husband was home. Except, well, he'd been okay looking before, but now it was indescribable. You could have totaled the good looks of Johnny Depp, George Clooney, Aragorn. You'd still be nowhere close. When he caught sight of her, he raised his eyebrows. But when he caught sight of himself, reflected in the mirror behind her, looking twice as gorgeous, he was out of that door like a shot and heading uptown. She had 2 wishes left. She thought of the stern face, the rolling eyes, whenever she tried to make a joke. She went back to the slug. I wish for extreme wit. The phone rang. It was one of those PPI claim-back companies, the 5th call in as many days, and normally she would have just hung up. But today she found herself rebuffing the caller with such sparkling wit that he had to hang up, he was laughing so much. Right, she decided, I'm going out. She got a taxi, though she had to keep telling the driver to keep his eyes on the road, and she went to what used to have been her favourite bar until her husband had told her she was no longer hip enough to go there. She walked up to the barman, who at first just gazed, open-mouthed, until she started chatting. And then he was doubled up with laughter and had to sit down, but not before he told her any drink she wanted would be on the house. She thought she was going to have the time of her life. Until she heard raucous laughter coming from the other end of the bar. There was her husband, regaling a gaggle of salivating women with the tale of his latest parking fine. Any men that were with them were doubled up with laughter too, even though he was flirting outrageously with their girlfriends. Soon, men and women were doubled up and staggering towards the toilets, trying to hold in their pee. Some of them didn't make it. The woman went home. She sat down on her couch, went back to the slug. 1 wish left? A mild heart attack, please.